here today with Bryn Davies in Bryn near Corwin. And I was just wondering, Bryn, have you always lived here?
I was actually born here.
Born in this house?
Born in this house.
Ah.
Yeah. When I got married, we moved down to the village for a few years. Then Mum and Dad moved out, and me and Mariam moved back in here, and we've been here ever since.
And tell us, they didn't call you Bryn after the village, though?
I have no idea. They probably did.
And so you've always been farming then, have you?
Always been farming, yeah. Always been, yeah.
And what sort of numbers of sheep, or you've cows as well, have you a bit of everything?
Yeah, we keep roughly 700 ewes, roughly. 25 suckling cows. Yeah, we fatten everything off afterwards.
Yeah, that's a big number of sheep. And so then I suppose, it's probably fairly obvious how you got into sheepdogs, but how did you get started at that?
Yeah, well, my granddad was farming here before, and he used to sort of train farm dogs.
Yeah.
And just sell them on, and yeah, a bit of interest started that way. And then I bought a pup off John Lightfoot, a well-known handler just up the road, and just started from there. Then I used to go with John to the trials just to watch him compete, because John was one of the best handlers, well, he still is one of the best handlers about. And yeah, just got the bug sort of thing and went from there.
Someone told me, is John nearly 80? Is he still winning the odd trial?
I think he's nearly 90.
What way?
90, and he's still as sharp as ever.
Oh, brilliant.
He can still beat anybody.
And so, would he have been giving you a bit of a steer then in those early days? Would he be advising you a bit? Or?
Yeah, he was very, very good for those. Saying if when I started competing, with him, I come off, he'd say, "Oh, if you've done this or if you've done that, it's been better for you." And surprising how little things stick in your mind. Mm-hmm. So I'm very grateful to John, really. So.
But you probably had a dog as soon as you could ride a bike. What age would you have been that you kind of got going at it?
As you say, before I was riding a bike, probably had a dog by my side, just on the farm. Just they'd send you, go and fetch the sheep from a certain field or something, and you just go naturally and fetch them and bring them in, and yeah, it's just natural things, right now.
And I see, like you have a big hill up there, and you've got a big number of sheep. When you go about training dogs, is it a big help having all that farm work, or can farm work be detrimental to making a trial dog?
It helps, really, doesn't it? Because the dog gets used to using his head, sort of thing, and yeah. But I personally don't use them too much in the yard. I don't like them. It can tighten dogs up in the yard, but on the actual outwork, it helps them a lot. That's my opinion. That it helps them to use their head, and but I don't use them much in the yard.
And like I hear fellas saying it's very hard to get a good dog. What's your opinion on that, or how do you find yours?
It's getting harder and harder to find a good farm and trial dog. A dog will do both jobs, yeah. But,
have you any idea why that is, or did it used to be different? Like,
yeah, it used to be. Most dogs used to turn out and you could train them and they'd work. But I don't know. A lot of dogs are either they've lost interest or something. There's something wrong with most of them. So it's definitely getting harder to find a good young dog.
I often hear people saying, "Oh, dogs aren't any more scarce than they ever were. It's just that the standard is a lot higher now. The standard at trials." Like, you're in the home of it here, and you've been at it since you're a young fella, and I mean your grandfather, that must be going back a long way. What's your opinion on that? Is the standard gone up there? Is that anything to do with it?
Oh yeah, I think the standard is, it's especially in North Wales, we've got some of the best handlers that we compete against every Saturday. So it's like Arled's up the road. I said John Lightfoot, Ellis Wynn, the Cumbergave brothers, and it's tremendous competition every weekend. So the standard is very, very high.
So Bryn, you see the high standard, you see the kind of competition you're up against. When when you're training a young dog there and you start to see things in him, you think, I think this could be one. What kind of qualities are you looking for? What would you get excited about when you see any young dog?
Yeah, it's nice to see a young dog keen to work. I like good turns in the dog, but keenness. But they've got to do, the farm and the trial. The farm's got to come first, so they've got to do the work first. and then that's what the part I like. I like to. I admit I'm not a good starter to a dog, but I like finishing a dog off.
Yeah.
And get him into my way of working, sort of thing. And yeah, that's the part I enjoy of the last part of training and teaching him my way, sort of thing. So
it's funny that if I was to describe myself, I'd be thinking I'm good at the first 70% and then I get lazy. But it's that last, it's fine tuning them that you like.
I prefer the last part, the last half, sort of thing. That's the part I like.
And when you mentioned the turns there and all, I hear fellas talking about clean flanks. Is that what you mean with turns?
Yeah, clean flanks. Yeah, especially in the area we're in, North Wales. Our sheep can be pretty wild in trials. If you get a dog is tight on his turns, well.
What is a clean flank, or what does it look like? I hear about square flanks as well. I'm not just sure what that is.
Well, I was taught to teach a dog to have the clean flanks, do the clock, sort of moving from 12 to 5 percent, so he's got to keep the same turn all the way around.
Yeah, so he's going around the same distance.
Distance from the sheep.
And is the first step of that turn then is he got to turn his head out?
Well, but not too squarely. If you take too square, they lose contact. I think Aled is a tremendous trainer of this kind of thing. His dogs are always on the work, but when he gets a stop and he gets a flank, his dogs are always clean flanking. And,
yes.
They're always, and not just the one dog, every dog, so I think the same with him.
And is it something that you can put into dogs, or does it need to be there a little bit, or is it the way you train them? Or?
I think you can put it into a dog. It's the way you train, I think. Some dogs are natural wider flanks, but I've got a young bitch now. She was very, very tight when she started, but I've really worked hard on her to open on the flanks, and she got beautiful flanks now. She's really what I like, sort of. So
yeah, and for somebody then whose dog is maybe a little bit tight now, like, have you any golden rules for, like, is there things that you insist on, or is there anything how would you tell somebody if they have a dog that's a bit tight in the flanks? How would you tell them that that in order to open them they must do?
That's top secret. No, I walk a lot with the dogs and then flank them to the side. Keep walking with them, and that's the way I was taught. Sort of, I had an uncle when I first started who was a good dog trainer, and that's what he told me. You've got to walk to train a dog. You've got to walk with them and get them to square flanks. And I'd say square flanks, but I don't like them turning back. I don't like them losing contact. They've got to be on the sheep, sort of.
Yeah, that contact is another thing I hear a lot about. And I was at a meeting there lately, and we were talking about how we'd encourage newcomers into the sport, and one of the stumbling blocks people sort of said is that people have a lot of nerves and it's difficult to get up at the stake at the start and all. Have you anything that you might suggest to newcomers, maybe not to take this kind of thing too seriously, or things they could do to help it? Do you suffer any nerves when you go out to trial?
I do when we get to the bigger trials. Yeah, the nationals, but I think a little bit of nerves is good, as long as it doesn't affect your handling too much. Sort of thing. Once I get to that pole, I forget everything, and it's just me and the dog and the sheep. Then I forget the nerves. Then just sort of before going on, I can walk back and two for a while. Sort of thing, so
I've been there a few times, and the heart starts beating like that. What do you do when that happens?
Well, you've got to get on with them. I just maybe walk back and two a few times, but once I get through that gate and by the pole, it's all forgotten. Then it's just you've got to. I keep telling, like Arwin, my son, he's a good handler. I tell him, you've got to go out there to win. You've got to go. You've got to have that in your mind to win, but you've got to be prepared to lose as well, and be happy when you come off, good or bad. You've got to enjoy it, sort of thing, and but you've got to go there to win. There's no point going there half-hearted. There's too many good handlers in the area to go there thinking, oh, this is easy, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
But if things go wrong, walk off with a smile on your face and go to the next trial.
I think that's valuable advice, because the reality is, even if you have a really good dog, and even if you're really well prepared, there's days where things are just going to go against you, and it's just the facts of life. Like.
Yeah, well, we're working one animal that's working another animal, so you're not sure what's going to happen really. If that one you decides to go or not to go, it doesn't matter how good or how clever you are, you're in trouble. And
so you mentioned Arwen, and like, I'm very aware of his ability as a handler, and he was in the last wave with dogs as well, and sure, he competed in world trials and everything. But I wonder there, a few fellas said to me, Paddy, you should get a sort of a training partner, somebody that you can go out in school with and things like that. Did the two of you boys school together there? Have you got a bit of an advantage on the rest of us there that you have a fella here in the house all the time? Or does it work like that, or have you different goals?
No, the goal's the same, isn't it? You know, to achieve the best is the best, you know, is the goal. But yeah, well, I'll watch him and I'll tell him what I think. And if I do, he's the same. He'll watch me and say, you know, what he thinks. But, he's better, he's cooler underhand than I am in the bigger trials. So he's good underhand, Fedu, so he's got a bit of advantage over me there.
Yeah. And do you think it's important though to have somebody that look over your shoulder and tell you the truth there? Like I have ability to kind of say, maybe I'm making a little excuse for myself here or there, and somebody to pull you up.
Yeah, no, true. You know, you got to be, if you're doing something wrong, I would respect somebody who tells me the truth. I'd rather somebody tell me the truth and say, "Oh, that was okay, you did well then," and knowing damn well that it wasn't. You know, rather than tell me.
I was admiring your hill, and it mightn't be maybe as good as you'd like it for grazing yours, but I thought it'd be a very useful place to school. Do you use it at all for schooling?
I do use it for schooling. Yeah, I do go up there. Maybe not enough, probably, but yeah, I do use it for. You know, to open a dog out or to get, because they've got to use their heads up there, so they're running blind or that's a good place to.
And I think you mentioned there, getting them to use their head and develop their initiative and all. Is there? I find that the Europeans have some great ideas and they've limited resources in small little places maybe, or they might even be training in the winter under lights, or maybe the place is covered in snow. But I often think they're able to squeeze so much more out of it there by being creative. Do you think like? Is there any stuff like that we could be using more? Sending dogs through fences or gates into other fields, or is there anything like that you like to do to get them to think?
Yeah, I do. I do a fair bit of sending them through gates on the side here. It's a good way of opening a dog out, and yeah, I like to do a bit of through gates, and again it makes them use their heads and things. So if you do get through to an international or something like that on the big course, and he's used to taking the commands on the run and things. It's got to be a great help for that job.
Bryn, I see lots of cups in the other room, and I see lots of photographs of dogs, and I see photographs of Armin's dog and all. Could you tell me about this bitch? I heard she's pretty special.
Yeah, that was my. She was actually Bud Farry breeding. She was the first bitch I got in the team with, and yeah, she was very special. She was a tremendous bitch. Work and trial. Yeah, I miss her. It's a job to replace that type of dog thing.
Yes.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah, she was in the one man's dog competition and in the Welsh team, and she won quite a few double fetch finals for me, and yeah, she was a real gem. She was doing so.
In Ireland, I often hear fellas saying you only ever get one good dog in your life. Is that true? Do you think, or are you hoping for another one?
Well, I'm hoping for another one, but she's definitely the best I've ever had. So yeah, I really. I do miss her. So she used to give you, you go to the post full confidence with her, and you knew that she'd try her best to help you out, and in all situations, good sheep, bad sheep, heavy sheep, light sheep, she knew how to handle them all. So
when you're going to the post and you're nervous and all, when you have one like that there, it's a fierce help.
It is, and she was a great spotter of sheep, no matter how far they were.
Oh yes,
she was a great spotter of sheep. The distance was no object to her.
That'll give you fierce confidence.
It would. It was a tremendous help.
Have you decided which dog you're going to run?
I'll be running the young dog. I'll be running Lad, the young dog this time.
What age is he?
He's 3 now.
Aye, and have you plenty of mileage on him anyway? You're fairly confident with him?
Yes, I'm pretty confident with him, yes. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing him, Bryn, and we look forward to seeing you too.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck in it.
Thank you.